Hey, everybody. Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another installment of Women in Cannabis Wednesday. So glad to be here with you. Today is a good day. I'm happy. I'm excited about what's to happen. There's some good stuff going on in the news. Um, and interesting stuff. And I'm really more excited about our guest today. Today we have my friend and community member, Cristina Buccola, who is a New York State and multi-state attorney. And we're going to just talk because we're friends and we can do that. But it would be really interesting because she's going to talk about New York. As you know, I'm a lifelong New Yorker. And Cristina, I believe, is as well. And New York is really close to adult use legalization. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, she's super interesting, so you get to know a little bit about her. As far as what's going on in New York State cannabis, as far as events, we have some cool things happening that I wanted you to stay aware of. In fact, tomorrow, there are two great events. Tomorrow, the Cannabis Society is doing something really cool around why New York State needs the MRTA. You could follow the Cannabis Society to get all that information. And tomorrow also, Women Grow is producing an event around amplifying the voices of women in cannabis. I'm excited for both. I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between the two. So I'm excited about that. So wanted to bring in our guest so we could get our conversation started. I could see her. Are you ready for me? Give me a thumbs up and let me know you're ready for me. Oh, I got 2 thumbs up. Okay, cool. Hold on. Let me bring in our awesome guest. Hi, Bobby.
Hi.
How are you? Let me give us a little overlay so people can see who you are. So, my dear friend, we talk so much now in the last few months.
We talk every day. I feel like might be just one of our conversations in a different format. That's how I'm going to treat it. I'd like to
where everyone else is watching as well.
Why not?
So why don't you introduce yourself to our Canadiva community?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me. I love the things that you produce and put together. I thought Women in Cannabis this year was one of the best events that I've been involved with in
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Certainly since COVID. Like, you pulled all the pieces together. No, but what I mean is it's really, and remember, I have, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I've done events in cannabis, right? That's one of my jobs. And so it's almost easier to do it when everyone is physically present. I think it's more difficult to pull, at least for me. I mean, I can barely use Zoom. So kudos to you on that, for real. That was an awesome event.
I'm glad. Thank you so much. It was like I couldn't do it without the team. And just a side note, not a great note, but I want to just tell everybody that our producer of that show, Mark Arezzi, passed away on Wednesday. And it was the largest gut punch that I've ever gotten in a really long time. So myself, the Canadiva team, the New York State community wishes Kimber and her family, sending them the most love. It was sudden, it was weird, and I just wanted to send my love and love to Kimber. But it was an amazing event, thanks in part to Mark and the team that helped put it. So thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And
thank you.
Sending love to Kimber right now, because she's one of the most giving people that I've met in cannabis, right? I mean, she works in our medical program, but she's also a kick-ass advocate, and really puts patients first and people first. So very, very sad about that.
Yes. But on a different note, so please introduce yourself to our Canadiva community.
Right. My name is Cristina Buccola, and I am an attorney, but over the course of 20 years, I've also become an advocate, an advisor, and most recently an adjunct professor of law. So
I remember when that happened.
You were there.
I was.
Story, because it involved your car, your magical car. It involved chasing down a bus. Do you remember that? And I tried to talk my way onto a bus with only $1, but it was like $4 to go express from the Bronx.
Yes.
Whole situation.
All in all of that, you managed to get a job, right?
Crazy. It's crazy how these things work out. So I've been practicing for almost 2 decades, and I started practicing in a traditional transactional practice with some blend of mergers and acquisitions, general corporate securities, capital raises, things of that nature. And I've been the general counsel and director of HR of an international tech company. And I started to look at cannabis in 2014 as a modality to treat my dad's advancing Parkinson's. And this is, I don't even know if I've told the story, but Ricardo Baca at the time was the first editor of cannabis for the Denver Post. And it was a big deal. He is very good friends with my friend, and she was going to The View to hang out in the green room or the waiting room for Ricardo, who was going to be interviewed by Whoopi Goldberg, etc. And I joined them, and we had this conversation. We were stuck in traffic trying to go eat Thai food, and he was, we were going to take him to Queens, but we couldn't even do that, and he just had to carry on. But we were stuck in traffic, and I said, what is the best way for me to start looking at this? And he advised me to look at NORML. And from New York NORML, I was introduced to High Times, and I was hired within a few minutes of meeting Michael Kennedy, who was the outgoing general counsel, and he went on to be chairman. As I said the other day, once you start working in cannabis, it's kind of hard to go back to anything else.
You are not lying, girl. I've tried. I've tried. It is not good because, yeah.
So from there, I have always maintained a law practice since 2008. I went on to be the partner in a cultivation concern in the Pacific Northwest. I went on to representing maybe, I would say 99% of my clients are in cannabis or hemp space. Okay. I am a solo practitioner. I have my own firm, and I have a strict no assholes policy. I won't work with assholes, and I won't work for assholes. And so the best, easiest, fastest, most efficient way for me to do that is to work by myself. And then I have an interesting skill set, and other people seem to be interested in tapping that from time to time.
I think the interesting skill set is really the no asshole clause, because I've witnessed that, and it's beautiful.
It's not, but let me be clear. It's not necessarily always lucrative. It's definitely fun and cool, but and it makes for interesting slogans on T-shirts that my husband then put up for me. We have a whole host of those, but it's not necessarily the best way to run a business, but I stay true to myself.
Right. So New York Cannabis,
yeah,
is, how did you because I know I would consider you an advocate in the space. We are in a lot of the same rooms, doing the work to make sure that we get cannabis done the right way, and that even our medical program, when we were getting our medical program, what brought you there? Because honestly, in reality, you could have been one of those attorneys and just
no. I mean, I had that experience, right? I had worked for one of the largest private equity funds and firms in the country, certainly, if not the world. And I made, wealthy people a lot more money, and that didn't necessarily do anything for me emotionally. It felt kind of bankrupt. And look, it's a privilege to even say that and to have those feelings and to be like, I understand that. Like, I consider myself so blessed and so lucky every day, even on days where things are going totally tits up. The fact that I get to choose the people I work with and the clients I represent is wildly important to me.
Right.
You know, that also means that I kind of cut myself off from other clients, because I really do firmly believe that this is our opportunity, and I'm excited where conversations are going in New York. But this is our opportunity to really set forth a platform that no other state has been able to do before, as far as centering racial, social, medical justice first and foremost, right? And so this isn't a revenue bill. This is actually a justice bill. And you know, so many times.
So let's jump into that. So coming off of the heels of Lobby Day, we made some noise. I think we were successful in amplifying the message about the MRTA, and then something today happened. What was it that happened today? You mentioned it when we spoke earlier.
Right. And so, well, I think this is a great foray in kind of talking about why. Ooh, are you getting feedback from me?
No.
Okay. I think this is a great foray into why the MRTA is so superior to the CRTA. And that's because there was a case studies that were released today, DPA and CUNY Graduate Center, that looked at, that took Scott Stringer, Controller Scott Stringer's report from last year, and looked at all of those high arrest areas, and looked at other socioeconomic factors like whether or not, or the portion of the population in those zip codes who are receiving nutritional assistance through SNAP, or who rank very high on the social vulnerability index, or where the poverty rates, or what the poverty rates are. And it will probably not come as a surprise to anyone that in those areas of a high incidence of marijuana arrest, they are the poorest areas. They are the areas with the highest amount of social vulnerability. I need to go and practice that word in front of a mirror, because if I'm going to say it,
yes. Social. Did you say social?
Social
vulnerability.
Yes. Index. And food assistance through SNAP. So we all know this, right? We all know that the areas that COVID hit hardest or just haven't been invested in at all. And so when we talk about revenue and the revenue that this is going to create, oh, by the way, that's my Instapot. At some point, I'm going to have to jump up and just add a little oil, like it's got to decompress a little bit. Listen, real life. I've got this mullet on.
Quarantine living, girl. Quarantine living.
Business up top, sweatpants and fuzzy socks on the bottom.
I can't stand up. That's all I have to say.
That's a different kind of show. What time does that happen? All right, but we're here. Yeah. But to refocus, because we were talking about this report, and I think it contextualizes it really so that people can see just how bad it is, right? And say, wow, the overlap of these areas, we can no longer go about ignoring them. And there is a correlation between jailing certain communities and punishing them for systematically for cannabis use, rightly or wrongly, right? Sometimes these are trumped up charges and there wasn't even any cannabis use. So, and showing that these communities need to be elevated just to be the same as neighboring zip codes, right? Just to be the same. And that's because there was never an investment. And so one of the seminal differences, most important differences between Cuomo's bill, which is the CRTA, and the MRTA, is this concept of community reinvestment, which again, people argue it should be community investment. Now, in the MRTA, 50% of the tax funds are going to go towards community reinvestment. And what that community reinvestment is, it's going to look like the communities that need these services saying, hey, we need this, we need that, and funding to those services, right? That could look like health services, that could look like educational services, workforce training development services, not for me to decide, for those communities to decide, right? And Cuomo's bill, there's that line in Clueless, from far away, she looks really good, but up close, you can tell she's a mess. That's how I feel about Cuomo's bill, right? From far away, you have those words. It says community reinvestment. No, they don't do that same thing. There is a fund with some money that's going to support entrepreneurs in the cannabis field as part of social equity programs, which again, I think we need too. But it also lumps this concept of community reinvestment right in there, and two totally different things, two totally different purposes.
So correct.
And we have to start really talking about them separately. At this point, if you can't understand that social equity is a thing, I don't know under what rock you've been hiding. Like there are definitely bigger issues with you than that.
Yeah.
But now to really define, and people have been doing it, but to really tease out the difference between social equity and community reinvestment, and understanding, particularly here in New York, because of the way the city was hit by COVID, how essential and important it is to have that investment in those communities. Full stop. Full stop. So those communities that kept New York running.
Listen, you're not, listen, I get that. So what you're saying is that we have to really separate the two, social equity and community reinvestment, and do a deeper dive into what those two things really are, and notice and know that they are very different in the CRT.
Need to be demanded, right? There are demands for both, and those demands for both are met far better in the MRTA than the CRTA. CRTA doesn't, again, it's that clueless Monet quote, from far away looks great, up close it's kind of a mess.
Right.
No, I don't mean to be, snappy about it, but it's almost like it's like if you weren't going to read a document in total, and you were just going to read defined terms but not understand what the defined terms means.
Okay.
Same thing.
So what would you tell a person who wants to be in this fight, as far as what moves should a person do?
Sure. So if someone has strong opinions about social equity and the way this gets rolled out, we will have, I believe, firmly, my lips, Jaws ears, right? Like I firmly believe that we will have legislation this year.
I do as well.
Yeah. That's only half the battle, right? There's a whole host of regulations that need to be written, right? And that's where input continues to be really wildly important, right?
Okay.
The battle isn't even over. I don't even know.
It has not even, the battle is ongoing.
Right.
Exactly. The battle is ongoing, and that's just the statement.
This gets passed. That is not over.
It hasn't begun.
Still so much time and room for advocacy and leaning in to the corners that have been provided by the act, and say, hey, this is where we need to flesh out this area, that area. And so I think that there's the ability to be truly democratic, far more democratic in the regulation creation, than there is in perhaps drafting a bill.
So, okay. Again, so like the people that are watching.
Hi.
Hi. Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
If you're in New York, what would you tell somebody? Because right now, the buzz that I'm hearing is, all right, everybody get prepared.
That.
Yes.
I am an attorney, and that does pay my bills, but I'm always looking for the advocacy angle, because I think input's important.
And I think the reason why he was putting lipstick on his pig was really because we had been saying it so much and so often and so loudly that I think he sort of felt like he had to say the right words. So if you're on the other side looking and are like a Cuomo fan, which still there are a lot of them, even amidst the whatevers, you might not think, okay, well, he's doing it right. He's going to legalize it. And I got a lot of people, just legalize it already. And I said, I will wait until he gets it right.
That's right.
But I also want to be proactive in, so like the average layperson who really wants this legislation to happen. It's clear it's not going to go in the budget, correct?
It probably will pass outside of the budget, correct?
That's what I had been reading. But what would you like once legislation happens and we are just putting from our mouths, it's going to happen.
Yes.
And you live in a community. I feel I live in a community that has been affected. We have a high policing. It's a huge Caribbean community. Caribbean in like Jamaican, Trinidadian, Spanish, Dominican, Puerto Rican, like a huge Caribbean community. And it's highly policed. You know what I mean? I would say middle to low income. There's homeowners, but then there's Section 8 people amidst the homeowners. So we have a really diverse community economically.
Yeah.
And I know that we have legacy people in this community that want to transition in. That would be the social equity part. But getting funds into the community is the community investment part. How do we focus on that?
On the community reinvestment?
Yeah.
Well,
everybody wants a license. Everybody's like, I want a license. And I'm like, me too, but what I am more concerned that I wouldn't send my son to school in this neighborhood. I'm going to just say what it is. I moved I was going to school in Brooklyn because the school in my neighborhood, I didn't feel safe sending my child to. So I would love for that community reinvestment to put money into schools. You know what I mean? To make sure that kids are educated, make sure that people are educated, that there are workforce programs. So how do I push that conversation?
Sure. So that, again, I'm going to default to in the regulations because we don't know the entirety of how the community reinvestment program, how it will work out. We do know that there is going to be a certain amount of tax revenue that is dedicated to that. Now, how that capital is deployed, it's not for me to say yet. They've been talking about grants, which is great. It's better than loans. But I would, if you're interested in that, you absolutely need to pay attention to the regulations because that's where it's going to start to take shape. Right. And if you are a community member and you know that something doesn't smell right or something is a must-have, that's where, again, your value is the most important.
Absolutely. So just to tell people like the work that we do together, we are both on these weekly or bi-weekly Drug Policy Alliance calls. And they are open for people to participate. So the information is out here. Like you couldn't say that, I don't know where to go because we're telling you where to go, right? And then tell you people where to go.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we don't have as many people that we could, and I think that in order for us to really affect the change that we all want to see, we really have to push that envelope.
Yeah. And I think this does come down to a fairness issue, right? When you start, and that's why this report, as devastating as the results are, it's an important and incredible report because you really do see just how unfair this is and how we have the ability to do something right.
Yes. Oh, let me see what comments are happening. I didn't even look.
Oh, we have comments?
Yeah, we have comments. Someone else was like, I'd rather wait too. Oh, I got a lot of comments.
Hi.
That's nice. I'm here by myself today, so
I got a comment on my hair.
BuzzFeed says hello.
Hi.
What else? We got this one is nice. I don't know what it's for. We need the MRTA. Yes, we need the MRTA.
Regulation creation. Okay. Okay, good stuff. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's pivot because we are still trying to.
What's happening with Cuomo and the scandal? The scandal.
I don't even.
Scandal.
I know. I heard it's up to 7.
Well, it may be more because one of the attorneys for. I can't think of the woman who came forward, said she's been fielding a lot of calls from other women with scarily similar stories.
Yikes. Well, you know,
I think that this could actually fare very well for cannabis legalization. So
I was wondering if it would be pushed forward or if it would be pushed to the side because, oh, we have other things to worry about.
I don't think it's getting pushed to the side. No way. He needs a win. They have a super majority. So I think that this is a go. I don't know. So Sarah is asking, will it pass because of the scandal? I don't know if it's because of the scandal, but the scandal is definitely an accelerant.
Yes, yeah, like you said, he needs a win. And but bottom line, he needs a win the right way. Like he needs to win for the people who are, I mean, listen, I've never been a Cuomo fan, but I'd give him a thumbs up if he did it the right way.
Yeah.
Like I said, as Melissa is in the room here, Melissa too said, she goes, I'd rather wait. I would rather wait than to get his plan. So I did hear, I read in Marijuana Moment recently that he had a call with Crystal Stokes recently. Yeah. And I don't know, she looked like she's a no nonsense type of person.
No.
So she's like, look.
Yeah. Yes. She's going to tell you what's what.
Absolutely.
I think it's really, I do think that the supermajority absolutely helps. Yeah. And I think he's going to dig in his heels and people are talking about the investigation. Should he resign? What we think.
He's very adamant that he's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah. He's dug in his heels. He is not going anywhere.
He's like, nope, not going.
That's what he's saying. Regardless of whether you want it or not, he is entitled to it.
Yes.
And is demanding it. And so the most interesting visual to come out of the recent scandals, did you see that one with him walking around the grounds in a giant shawl with a bottle of beer? Oh, I wish we could share that. I don't know. If someone can find it, throw it in the comments. It was pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't, I'm gonna withhold comment because again, right now, my focus, and I think the focus is of a lot of people that we've been working with over the past few years is let's get this over the line. And
yes.
If it so happens that he's on his back foot because of this, oh well, the right thing is going to happen.
Yes, it's not going to happen the wrong way.
No, it's not going to happen.
No, because I know that the legislators, especially the legislators of color, are not going to fall for it.
Wait,
that okie doke is not happening.
Yeah. Can you share the photo? It's one of my favorites.
Oh, she could share it in the comments, but she can't send it to me. I can't post it, unfortunately.
I feel bad. We took a tour into Cuomo land.
No, but it's okay. It's okay. It's information that we should know. And she literally just texted me, but I can't add it, Katie. So can you tell them what you're working on that you want to share as we wrap up? I know that you do a clubhouse once a week.
Oh yeah. So I'm really lame at social media, but I'm terrible at it. I'm not even going to try to lie. But I am part of a clubhouse with a colleague who works primarily out of New Jersey. Her name is Shirali. And we call it New York, New Jersey Cannabis Law with Cristina and Shirali.
Yes.
And all we do is talk cannabis law. Like this is not how to break into we're lame.
Right.
We're lame lawyers, right? I mean, we're lawyers. We're fun for lawyers, but we're lawyers.
I love the disclaimers when you enter the room, which I find hysterical. I'm like, they are so lawyers.
Yeah, no.
There's a disclaimer when you enter the room.
Correct. I mean, this is the way I'm programmed at this point, right?
Yeah, no, I get it.
2 decades of practicing law. 2 decades.
I know.
Ooh, hardwired.
So when are your clubhouses?
Oh, Clubhouse. Yes, we meet on Clubhouse tomorrow. We meet Thursdays 7 to 8. And we just, we talk New York, New Jersey. We take some questions. The
room has been happening, girl. The room has been happening.
It pops. We were off for the last 2 weeks because it was my anniversary and then Shirley's anniversary.
Right.
And so we're back tomorrow night. It's
cool.
fun. It's a fun time. And it's just law. It's just law. We're not giving you any tips on, how the best fertilizer or like the best branding or, how to get around Instagram.
No, because I've seen you on Instagram, girl.
I'm a hot mess. It takes me 45 minutes to do a post.
And this I know.
I tried, that one with my hair. I had to like take it down, put it back up. The text kept on getting hidden behind the repo. Why do they make it difficult for me? Why?
You need to call Kate.
I do need to call Kate.
Kate will hook you up. That's
you want to know what I do. So, I mean, I'm not just slapstick. The way you saw my passion for
yes.
my passion. But I am a transactional lawyer and I have been for a very long time. So what does that look like? Sometimes I'm the first lawyer that people have ever met. Right. And I have been called into negotiations where people literally have never entered into a contract or any kind of arrangement or any kind of certainly written agreement. And, people I've worked with are accustomed to only doing handshake deals. And so trying to bring some kind of corners around standardizing contracts in cannabis is pretty interesting and has been for the better part of 7 years. Oh, Sarah, stop. Listen to Sarah. She's like, sorry for steering it towards we're here.
But you know what I actually wanted to say? If you were my first attorney, I would literally be thrilled because you're approachable, and you could talk to somebody. And honestly, I've met people that work in this space that I like, and usually in like the corporate side, and I know that you dance between the two, but like I wouldn't want to like hang out with someone.
No, I mean,
I want to hang out with you. I'm like, can you be my attorney and can we hang out? So.
Yes, and I don't even charge people when I like them to hang out. But
yeah.
The fact of the matter is I have a super corporate skill set.
Yes,
and I'm very fortunate for that. And now I get to flex that for people who would not otherwise be able to afford services of the kind of attorney that I am. Right. And so, and some of those people are, legacy market participants. Some of those people are first-time hemp farmers. So it's, and I consider myself so lucky that I get to do that.
It is a gift.
It's a gift. It's a gift. Yes. It's also a huge pain in the ass.
Listen, I produce cannabis events. It's a giant pain in the ass, but I'm thrilled to be able to do it here and to have kind of, stepped into this space, with 2 feet and been able to stick around for a little while. You know what I mean? So I'm thrilled to meet people like you and become friends with people like you. So I appreciate you very, very much.
I get to live my truth, and I get to live my truth while also being around really cool people. I mean, not everyone is cool. Let's be honest.
That is true. Not everyone.
There are a lot of people where I'm just like,
we are cool.
I start my week with you guys every week.
I know. Yes, because Sunday we do clubhouses, our super laid back cash. I'm really glad that it's not in person because I do not comb my hair. And drinking coffee and doing whatever while we talk shit in the clubhouse.
I do love that.
I love it. I love it. So, my love, I'm gonna let you run, and I appreciate your time.
Am I boring you? I had until like 8:10.
It's a 30-minute show. No.
Oh.
It's a 30-minute show.
Oh, no. I was like, I gotta get up. I gotta do an Instapot.
Yes. Well, you'll have time to do your Instapot, and I'm gonna hook you up with some recipes because
So
I love it.
join
All right,
us.
my love.
Join us
We are
tomorrow.
going to tell people to find you, Cristina Buccola, attorney extraordinaire. She is CB Counsel on Instagram. And I wanted to say thank you so much. And you are cbcounsel.com for your website, right?
That's right.
cbcounsel.com and attorney extraordinaire. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Bye, everybody.
All right, everybody. We wrapped up another episode of Women in Cannabis Wednesday. I appreciate you for visiting us, and I love the comments. The comments are awesome. Thank you so much for engaging with us. We will see you next week. Thank you again. Bye.